Hello, my name is Araceli Munoz. I am a law enforcement major with minors in Spanish and sociology. I want to tell you about a hot topic that is commonly misunderstood: immigration. Today, I will touch on a few points, including why we don't recommend using the word illegal, why undocumented immigrants don't just fix their papers, some truths and myths about immigration, and finally, a brief history of immigration to the United States. Why do we recommend not using the word illegal? There are different reasons for this recommendation. The Library of Congress issued a statement in 2016 to cancel the subject heading illegal aliens. The Associated Press had done the same thing in 2014. The phrase illegal aliens has taken on a pejorative tone in recent years. We have seen immigrants demonized in the media and sometimes called just the illegals. Crossing the border without inspection or staying in the country without permission are violations of administrative law, not criminal law. Therefore, undocumented immigrants are not criminals. 1/3 of families of immigrants in the United States, 16 million out of 47 million, live in mixed status families, so the term does not reflect reality. For instance, some families are composed of undocumented parents and citizen children. It's dehumanizing. No human being is illegal. People can do illegal things, but people themselves cannot be called illegal. Now, I want to address the question of why people don't fix their papers. The short answer is that if you don't have a relative who is a citizen or resident or don't have a college degree and a job, it is almost impossible to get papers in this country. Our economy demands two types of workers: highly skilled and lower skilled. People who work in construction, farms, hotels, and restaurants neither need nor have college degrees. This is what people mean by our immigration system is broken. Now I want to discuss some myths and facts about immigration. There are 47 million immigrants in the U.S. today. Most immigrants are from Mexico, 60%, followed by China, India, and the Philippines. An estimated 11 to 12 million are undocumented. These persons live in the shadows and constant fear of deportation. We often hear that immigrants commit more crimes. However, studies have consistently found that immigrants are less likely to be incarcerated than native-born Americans, and that there's a negative correlation between levels of immigration and crime rates. This is to say, as immigration recently increased in this country, crime rates decreased. 5 million U.S. citizen children live with their undocumented parents. So, as I mentioned before, many families are of mixed immigration status. People think most immigrants cross the border illegally. For example, swimming the river or walking through the desert in our southern border. However, most undocumented immigrants overstay their visas. For example, some people come as a tourist, which gives you 90 days to stay in the country and just stay longer. Undocumented immigrants pay taxes. They pay sales tax, property taxes, and some even income taxes. For example, undocumented immigrants paid $11.6 billion in taxes in 2016. We often hear that immigrants use too many resources. However, immigrants receive very few government services, and undocumented immigrants receive almost nothing. Undocumented mothers can get medical assistance during pregnancy, but they are on their own soon after their baby is born. Thinking about our fellow students who have DACA or are just undocumented, DACA is a program passed by President Obama for young undocumented immigrants who came to the country as little children that may end soon if the Supreme Court rules in favor of the current administration. Even if you have DACA, you can't get federal financial aid or loans. Now in Illinois, thanks to the RISE Act, undocumented and DACA students are able to get MAP grants. The last slide shows information about the history of immigration to the United States. I'm not going to go into every detail, but just want to show you that we have always selected and excluded immigrants and citizens in this country. This is where we get the phrase, "We are a country of immigrants, just not any immigrants." For starters, in the beginning, only white people could become citizens. In 1882, we excluded Chinese immigrants from coming to the U.S. History repeats itself, and we recently banned Chinese immigration because of the coronavirus. Chinese people in 1882 were banned from immigrating because of pressure from California workers who didn't want competition. In 1921 through 1924, the quota laws were passed to restrict immigration from different countries in Southern and Eastern Europe. It was at this time that Mexican workers started providing labor for the agricultural sector. The Bracero program, in place between 1942 and 1964, allowed for temporary migration of Mexican workers. In conclusion, let's learn from the past and welcome our immigrants today, especially immigrant background students, faculty, and staff.